So I thought I'd do a quick walkthrough of the Lathrop, Missouri Quilt Show. This is 2022. So quilt number 1. We're not going to tell you who made these quilts because they're in the competition and the names aren't shown on them right now. But this is a collage style quilt. And if you move up, you can see all the fun stuff she did with it. It's awesome. Here is another collage style quilt. Nice little vase with flowers in it. You see the stitching there kind of meandering around. Here we have a wall hanging quilt, all sorts of little pieces in it, all nice and bright pieces. You also see down here a wall hanging, and then we come on across another wall hanging. And then we have a paper piece pattern of the Kansas City Museum of Art with its shuttlecocks in front of it. And then here we have a wall hanging. And if you look up close, you can see kind of what they did with the stitching here. All sorts of pretty colors, great way to use your scraps. Nice, fun stuff. It's beautiful, beautiful applique work. Here we have some really beautiful free motion style work. Oh. And then here we're down here back to the paper piecing one. Awfully pretty. Here we have another quilt. This was, I think, a mystery quilt that was done. You see some of the stitching on it. And then here we have another quilt, another wall hanging. That's when you see the crisscross hatch and you see what they got going on there. We come around the corner here. We'll do this side first. Here's a wall hanging style quilt, kind of a baby size quilt. And then we have here another quilt. It's got all sorts of fun gift things. Grace, friends, family. We have a cross-stitch quilt. Pretty neat. We have here another collage style quilt. This looks like a snow globe. And you see there they've done their stitching up and down on it. Here we have a fun quilt. All the little RV style campers and camping. You can see they've done there. Looks like they've done a little bit of embroidery style on this one. So next one we have is a quilt. It's got some red work in it. Awfully pretty quilt. If you go up close, you can see the little red work squares on it. Kind of cut them at, the 5 shapes, and very pretty quilt. Here we have Cathedral Window, and this one's got little tiny pieces in it. So gorgeous quilt. Here we have another wall hanging. See the maps and stuff in it. Pretty awesome. I like this little fabric here. All these fabrics. It's just fun. So on this side, we have a quilt. fun colors. We have a collage style quilt, Octopus. And if you look up close on this one, you can see there's jellyfish in the quilting and all sorts of different things up there in the quilting. You have the fish. You can see there's that jellyfish up there, and then the stuff coming down. And this one, I don't know if I can get this one back enough. It's pretty fabulous. I love the colors, pretty bright. But then if you look close, all the stitching in it, the handwork on it. So you can see all that. It's pretty awesome. So behind us, we have another quilt. There we go. Awesome shades of green and blue there. Fun little pattern on the background quilting as well. Here is the embroidery straw quilt. It's a pretty big quilt here. If we come up close, you can see all the work that they put in on that one. This one is part pieced, part collaged. And on this one, this is overpainting on fabric. So you're taking this type of fabric right here and you're overpainting a little bit to get different tones. So this fabric here is the same as this fabric here. It's just overpainted a different color, and etc. up there, and then up there too. And then here, a little bit of thread painting on top of the tree to give it that kind of that realistic look in the water. And then the stars were overpainted as well. And here we have an eagle quilt. Love the eagle, that's awesome. Can you see the work they did on that one? It's a beautiful quilt. We come on back around here, and this one, I don't know if you can see the bird in it, and the stitching, and then it's got all the quilting. It's a black quilt with it looks kind of brown in the video, but it's a black quilt with the blue stitching. And then here we have another quilt, the lady swimming. And if you scoot on up, you can see them in the water. You see the stitching around the edge. Then here we have a cross stitch style quilt. It's a really big quilt, so I'll try and get it all in this little video. And here we go up close. Pretty fabrics in it. Look at that. And this one is a lot of stitching. I think it's called Shisenko, maybe. But all of these blocks are actually stitched. You can see that. And this one's awesome optical illusion effect using ombre fabrics. Beautiful, beautiful mix of colors. I love how the red and the gray work together. Awesome quilt. I think this one is the One Block Wonder, maybe. Anyways, it's where you stack it all up and you cut it apart You can see the little blocks. I don't remember the exact name of this one, but I've made a lot of them. I like making it. It's pretty fun. And this one's really cute. Look at the chickens all over. Fun little chickens. If you come up close, you can see they're pretty darn cute. And here we have this one. This is a quilt. It's a 4-patch posy, intermingled with some blocks that are like a panel style block. And this was her first quilt. So if you come up close, you can see what she did with her 4-patch posies there. Pretty awesome. She's pretty happy with this one, how it turned out. So, I love it. Here we have another collage style quilt, a little groundhog, I think that is, with a little rabbit. Or not a groundhog, a hedgehog. It's a pretty cute little rabbit. I love how his eyes sparkle. See his little eyes? They're sparkling with the light hitting them. All the pretty colors. Here's this one. The dogs are really cute. You can see all the different colors in it. You come on close, you can see like what pattern stitching she put on it. Over there, you see all the stitching. Here we have a teacup quilt. And these are really great colors in it. You can see them there. If you come on close, you can see like what they did with the background edge to edge style quilting. Pretty fabric there too, it's awfully pretty. And this one is fabulous. I have not ever made this quilt, but I was looking at it and I was thinking I should make that. Look at all these tiny pieces they have together, and if you come up close, you'll see, you can kind of see what they did there. And this is a great way to use your scraps if you got scraps, right? Beautiful quilt. Next one we have is a red, white, and blue quilt. You see all the fabulous colors. I love how it kind of pops all over. Very pretty quilt. Here we have this one. Fun colors. The stars. You see the stitching there. And then here we have this one. You almost have to see in person. It's really pretty in this video, but this fabric right here kind of has a sheen to it. You can kind of see it there. And with the sheen, when you're walking by, it's really stunning how that sheen pops on that quilt. And then here we have a flamingo quilt. This one's pretty fun because you see all these little envelopes right here. The envelopes open up, and then there's little cute messages in them. Guessing for a little kid or what have you. Look at the eyelashes on the flamingo and what have you. It's pretty awesome. And then again, back from the back so you can see the whole thing. And then here we have this quilt. Awesome. In the dark blues and the navies. And if you come on close, you can kind of see some of the stitching there.
That's pretty awesome.
And then here you have, I don't know what this pattern is called, but this is a pretty one. I love the colors in it. See the colors? You can kind of see how they stitched it there. And here we have this one. The contrast between the pink and the yellow is very pretty. Look at this yellow one. So this one they did some piecing with it, and then they went back over for the butterflies there and did the little antler thingies, antennas, I guess they are. Pretty. Then here we have this one, large piece quilt, and then if you see right there in the little squares, again another great way to use scraps. You see the scrappy 9 patches there, and then you see what they did right there with the quilting. Here we have another fun quilt. It's awfully pretty. This one's playful, I think. And then you see there they got the daisy looking flowers in them. And here we have like a star style quilt. I don't know the name of the pattern on this one. It's pretty. You come on close, you can see what they've done with their stitching. And then we come on around here. We're about halfway through the show, we're close. This one was, I think they call it a OOF or something, where you've lost some quilt pieces. Maybe they were extra and you didn't know what to do with them, but they got found. That's what this is right here. And they sewed it together and just found some fabric they liked with it. So you can see the stitching on it. And then here's this quilt. And this is a pretty big one. I don't know if I can fit it in the whole video, but you see the little checks or crisscross thingies all over in it. It's pretty cool. Here we have kind of an old-fashioned looking quilt. And as you come in close on this one, it's pretty neat. You see as you come in close, it's all little strips that they've sewn together. See that there? Another good way to use scraps. Here we have another old-fashioned style quilt. I love how the pink pops in it. That dusty mauve color pops right against the other ones. And here we are, close with the stitching. Here's this one. This is a pretty big, this is a big quilt. You see, again, another great way to use your scraps if you got scraps. See all the different fabrics in there. And then here you can see that they did the circle, kind of those bubbles in the, looks like an edge to edge. Here we have this one. It's a awesome quilt. Look at that. Again, another great way to use scraps if you got scraps, that you can see what she's done. She's done here with all the different colors. And we'll come on around here. We have this one. Fun little Christmas style quilt. Or maybe winter style, I guess. He's got his little hat on. Pretty cute. Yeah, pretty cute. We have this one's fun, springy, very springy quilt. See all the fun colors there. There's the stitching that she's done. Here's this one. Oh, look at that one. That's pretty in person, but it's pretty neat on the film. You can see like her stitching and what have you. Stitching on the quilt. Here's this one. You see all the little tiny pieces. These are 1 inch squares. Well, they're 1/2 inch now, but they started out as 1 inch little squares. So that one's nice and colorful, bright. Lots and lots of little pieces. Here we have this one, your 9-patch quilt. All the fun colors. And you can see like they did the star in the 9-patch and then a design in between them there. And then this one, again, another great way to use scraps if you got it. That one. This one's used the squedge ruler. I don't know if you're familiar with the squedge ruler, but you take it and you divide it apart, and you cut your fabric using the ruler, and it helps you make the different cuts and the different angles. This one's got pretty cool colors in it, and you can see what he's done there. He makes all sorts of brightly colored quilts. Here we have fish quilt. Let's see. This one's done kind of in 2 different ways. This one here is more like a traditional collage style where he's sewn on it. And then here you have more like an applique style up close. I don't know if you can see that. So, applique. Here we have a blue quilt. Very pretty colors. I love the colors on this one. So, awfully pretty colors. See all the pretty colors on the quilt. Now here we have all the fun colors. And then again, you come in here and see kind of what they did with their stitching. This one's fun, another Christmas quilt. You see the trees that they've pieced together and the trucks and stuff. And then they have, looks like a panel probably just in the middle. The rest of it is pieced. Maybe this part is pieced and the truck is pieced. Here we have this quilt. This one's really big. I don't know if I can get the whole thing in the video. You see this one. Lots of little pieces. Pretty pattern quilted there on the side with the feathers, and you can kind of see what they did here on the quilts, and up close you can see the different colors and what have you. Here we have this one, which is also really pretty, and I think you probably could use scraps in this one if you had enough of the same shade or the same family of colors. The purple and the yellow pops together. Very pretty. And then you can see the stitching pattern there. And we come on around. We're almost done here. We come on around. And this one, it looks like they have little blocks that were part of maybe a panel of some sort, placed into a bunch of pieced blocks. And you can see the stitching there. Here we have a black and white quilt. It's a really big one. I don't know if I can get it all in here, but I can take you across it. I love kind of that, I don't know what that, I know in the China they call it the chintz, but that kind of that chintzy pattern. I think it's very pretty on the quilt. You can see what they've done there with it. Here we have a red and white quilt. This one's quite pretty. The contrast in colors is pretty. You see all the fun stuff there. And this one was done with the, like, this looks like an edge-to-edge style. Here we have this one. This is a 4-patch posy. And for those of you that don't know what a 4-patch posy is, you take a fabric that has a large, a medium, and a small aspect to it, and you stack it, and then you cut it, and then you put those pieces together. So this is 4 exact cuts of the same thing that are just placed so they create a different pattern. So you can see that there. So here we have this one. This has kind of got an oriental feel based on the fabrics were chosen. It's got a gold luster to the fabric. It's pretty. You can see his quilting edge to edge pattern that he used there. And there you can see that sheen to the gold. There's this one. This one's got some fun stitching in the edges, the horse quilt here. It's pretty big too. I'll try and fit it in there as much as I can. If you look here on the edge, what she's done with her stitching, pretty fun. All the way up, and then you can see that she's sewn around the horses and stuff on the quilts. Now here we have log cabin quilt. And it's a really pretty color. Like, I like the quilting on it too. It looks pretty. It creates like an additional aspect to it. This one here, I don't know if you noticed that, but I have talked about a couple men quilting that submitted quilts. So we have a few men that do submit quilts for the quilt show. This is another one of the men. It's a pretty awesome quilt here. I love how it looks. The contrast in the colors and what have you is beautiful. So they quilted the different kind of patterns up in there. And played around with the stitching on it. It's awesome. Here, this one here. Another great way to use your scraps. He likes really bright colors, and you'll see this one has lots and lots of really bright colors in it. And then just an edge-to-edge style pattern was used on it. Here we have a Christmas quilt. I love Christmas quilts. And this one had edge-to-edge quilt work on it. This one's fun, kind of got that bandana look to part of it. I love the busy fabrics with each other. I love that look. You see this one? Very fun. You come in close, that's where I'm seeing the bandana fabric. How it's mixed in there, that's pretty neat. And this one is pretty big. I don't know if I'll be able to get this all in, but if you look there, kind of got that steampunk feel to it. She did a lot of work on this one. You can see what she's done here. I like the stitching, kind of how she sewed around that section there, and then you see what's going on up there. Kind of fun. I'll step back so you might be able to see this one a little bit more. And then over here we have this one. I'll step back so we can see that. It's a pretty big quilt. But this is a great way to use scraps if you have scraps as well. I love this one, kind of creates that mood. It's very moody with the colors. I love it. Love it, love it. The contrasting there and all the different colors. And then here's this one. I need to step back a little bit so you can see it. You see what they did with the stitching. It's kind of fun colors. It's awesome. And then our group got together and they did a round robin, which is where you make your center block and then you pass it to the next member in the group, and they do a center block and the next member and so on. So this is a round robin. There was 8 people that participated. This one turned out really pretty. Some pretty colors, I think. You can see where they've gone in and appliqued some of the lilies and what have you on the quilt and pieced part of it. And here's some paper piecing, and then applique in the middle. Yeah, really pretty. Here's another round robin one. And you're seeing the light through it. This one's not bound yet. All the different things that were done with that quilt. It's amazing what happens when you let 8 different people work on a quilt. There. Pretty. This one's fun. This is another round robin. You see all the different fabrics in it. So the center block looks like it might have been paper pieced. Probably it's a tree. And then you see they took this extra fabric that she had and made Christmas balls around it. And then there's some fun package looking things, some hearts in it, all sorts of stuff. Pretty fun. Here's another one. This one's nice and cheery, kind of springy. You see some paper piecing in it, some applique work in it. You can see up there. They got in there, the flowers. And again, this 8 different people worked on creating this. So Rainey appliqued the center part, and then you see where everybody else has taken their part of this and added to it. Here we have this one, and Lee worked on this one for her husband, who has a nice red barn that he likes. So you'll see in this one, she started with the center block that she put together. That's all pieces that she's cut out and put together. Got the birds, and then you see he likes tools, so she's got the tools in there. Pretty awesome. Here's this one. You see the yellow and the black theme in there, some grays. So it's nice and bright. Love the flowers. And then you can see right there, the center section. This one here is pretty fun too. This one's got some of the Australian fabrics in it. Nice and bright. You come on close. This is 4-patch posy in the middle there actually too. It's just a very large pieces, I think. Yeah, it is. And then you see here the piecing, what was done around it. Looks like some 4-patch posy work right in here too. And it's interesting because you cut up this piece of fabric and this is the type of stuff you come up with. See how different they are? And then here's the very last quilt we got. This one Rhonda made. Well, Rhonda started it. This is her center block and then everybody added to it. You see there. Awesome. I think that's part of that Stonehenge line maybe. Very pretty fabric. So this concludes the Lathrop Quilt Show. Hope you guys enjoyed your walkthrough. Thanks.